It's time for Martinez Girlz Radio with the Martinez Girlz.
Hola, hola, hola. You are listening or watching Martinez Girlz Radio. I am your hostess with the mostest, Shelly from Kelly. She is my lovely co-host, Danny, California.
Hello, hello.
And oh my gosh, this intro is going to be super short because we have a really awesome interview for you guys. And it's so funny because long story short, the backstory to it is Danielle and I were literally sitting right here.
Yeah.
Before the interview. And we were working in here for like hours on end. And then it was like, 4:00.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no makeup. Danielle was no makeup. And I was like, okay. So the little backstory with it is Danielle and I were literally sitting right here. We were working all day and no makeup, whatever. I was procrastinating, working out. And then Danielle was like, wow, we have a couple hours till our interview, because I was like, oh, our interview is going to be at 7. Mm-hmm. Then I get a message from the person we're interviewing saying I am on StreamYard waiting. And that's when I realized I'm an idiot. I didn't pay attention, which is one of my pet peeves, is when people don't pay attention. I didn't pay attention. And it was 7:00 his time, which was 4:00 our time. So instead of being like, hey, can we reschedule it? I was like, you know what? He took this time out of his day to hang out with us. So F it. Let's do it. I'll look like crap.
Yeah, whatever. Do the damn thing. And honestly, it was so much fun, and the spontaneity of it all was kind of exciting. And I'm glad, because I like to go to bed at a reasonable hour, and we had been doing so much throughout the day that I was kind of worried that I was going to be really tired by the time that we actually had the interview. And then I was like, oh, that's like our dinner time. We eat dinner like around 7, so I'm gonna be like so hungry and like lagging in energy. So it totally worked out, and as you guys will see, it was so much fun.
Totally. So before we get into that, we have a little story time.
Story time!
Wow.
Wow! So Danielle, why don't you tell everyone out there what the hell just happened?
Okay, so something when I tell this story that I have to remind people is when you go wine tasting, they're not pouring you nice fatty old glasses of wine.
Depends where you go.
Depends. Where we were at, little tasties. Like this probably is like, if I put it in a wine glass, maybe like a little less than that. And you're not really getting drunk. You're lucky if you get tipsy.
Because they want you to buy the bottle.
Exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And we knew that we were wine tasting different vineyards, so we weren't looking to get all crazy. So that was totally fine. So some people can look at that and say, oh, the birthday girl had too much wine and she fell. No, there was a divot.
The divot!
The divot! And I wasn't looking because I was filming, and then I started running, if you guys saw.
After the wow!
And then like, I was like, why did I start running?
Because you were excited, I feel.
I was excited.
You were excited. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this the first time that you've ever been in like a vineyards like that?
Yeah, I mean, we grew up around vineyards.
I know, but like
actually, yeah.
So it's beautiful. And the view was beautiful. Wow. Good. You guys saw? Wow.
And that happened. And what I did when I fell is I tried to, as they say in the industry, no sell it. I actually was like, I had a laugh, but I was like, oh my gosh, I fell really hard. And I was just like, what just happened? Like, I had so many different emotions going on. And I actually still have the blood spot on my palm from falling. And then I got up and Shelly's like, are you okay? Because it was hard, right?
Well, you were laughing, but like, it was hard. So I was like, she's laughing, which is good. But she done fell hard.
Yeah, I really did. And so when I got up and Shelly wanted to take some pictures, and I want to see these pictures. I haven't seen these pictures yet.
Oh yeah, I gotta look them up. I haven't either.
And I put my hand on my pants, and at that time I was wearing leggings and boots that covered like half of my knee, and my pants on my knee were wet, and I looked and I had blood on my hands. And I was like, oh wow, I guess I fell that hard. And I am notorious for having issues with my knees and stuff. So I'm like, oh great, here we go again. So basically, we took our little pictures because priorities. And then I went to the bathroom to kind of clean my wound. I pulled up my legging and I unzipped my boot. I was kind of cleaning it, and I thought, based on my past knee traumas, I learned that you need to keep the wound clean and dry. And so I was like, I should probably ask for a Band-Aid. So I walked out of the ladies' restroom with my boot down and my leg is all rolled up in this kind of pretentious environment. And I saw this gentleman and I said, excuse me, do you work here? And I figured he did. I kind of saw him throughout the day. And he was like, yeah, I do. And I said, do you have any Band-Aids? And he's like, oh yeah. And he took a very long time to come back. And when he finally came back, he gave me the Band-Aid, asked me if I was okay. And I was like, oh, I'm more embarrassed than anything. There's this divot.
Damn divot!
And it's no big deal. And so I went to the bathroom and put the Band-Aid on. I even had some conversations with the ladies in there and like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Because it looked bad. And I was like, oh, but I'm not drunk. And like, oh wow, I better be careful because I've had a whole bottle of wine, one of the ladies said.
Hold on. Let's see that leg right now.
Yep. So this is happening. I got blood on my hands. It would be one thing I was like super drunk or something, but no. Oh, dang. So yeah, and keep in mind, yes, it was a hard fall, but I had already had previous knee issues because Shelly was being too rough one day. And so I already had bruised and I was still healing from a current wound. So maybe it opened up a wound. Maybe that's what this year is all about, opening wounds and letting them heal properly.
That's the thing. Don't pick. Let it go.
Keep it clean.
And
dry. Just like how I like my wines, clean and dry. But we didn't even mention how we went away for my birthday weekend, by the way. And it was the weekend leading up to my birthday that we went away to wine country here in California, and we stayed the night and went wine tasting, which is really cool and really fun and something that I've never really done out in the vineyard. So I was so appreciative to have that experience, and I was just happy to be there. So yeah, that happened. And then when I came out from the restroom and was trying to find Shelly, a man approached me. A man out of nowhere. He approached me.
A man!
And he's like, oh, so I heard you took a fall here. And he seemed like he was like the owner, the manager, or something. Like, I feel like he's more than a manager. Like, he seemed like he was the owner. And I said, oh yeah, I actually fell not on the premises, but out walking near the vineyards. There's this divot.
That damn divot. Moral of the story, watch out for those divots in life, people.
And I'm fine. And I think he just needed to see that I wasn't all crazy all over the place. And he was assessing if I was going to sue them. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then as long as you're okay. And then I walked away and I met with Shelly. And meanwhile, why don't you offer me some wine? Something.
Especially when he saw that you were like clearly not intoxicated, and I don't know. It's just, and here's the thing. There's going to be a vlog on my main channel about this. I'm going to try to put it up tomorrow. But when I do put it up, I will put it in the description below. The thing is this specific winery where this happened, I have gone to one time before, and they were like super rude to me and Metal Jesus. And so I didn't want to go. And the only reason why I wanted to go is because the decor, the place itself looks like a castle, like an old school castle, and there's like a moat. But like, and then when we went, because we were passing by it, and I was like, okay, fine, because I wanted Danielle to see it because it's just really beautiful. It really is.
Yeah.
Attitude or not, it's beautiful.
It is.
So it's almost like
The wine's good too.
Disneyland. You know what I mean? So I knew she would appreciate it. So I thought, okay, let's go try it one more time. And when we actually did the wine tasting before she fell into the divot, it was a pleasant experience. The girl was nice. She gave us the lay down on all the wines, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, she was great.
Very knowledgeable. Like, I know normally that's the way, but like she had like extra little facts that I don't really hear that often at wine tastings. So I was like, okay, cool, okay. And then when this happened, when I walked up, I thought this man was hitting on Danielle. And I was like, okay, wine tasting. But then it looked
gentleman.
But then it
My
looked
taste.
Yeah, exactly. And he was kind of cute. So I was like, this seems kind of serious. What the hell's going on? And then when Danielle walked away, I thought, I don't think he was hitting on her. What's the deal? And then when she told us, I was just like, you know what? Like, to me, that showed that they didn't really care, and they just kind of cared about if they're going to be sued or not. And I like to go to a wine tasting place or a vineyard and support vineyards that they do care. Like, yeah. And then the reason why they care is like, because they care, and it's not all about the money. And because of that, that's why I feel their wines make them money, because the energy that they have behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, if I was difficult, I would have gotten some freebies. And that's how this world is.
I fell over there. How come you guys da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Well, look at my knee. And I waited so long for the Band-Aid. What are you guys running here? Totally could have done that. And Danielle, you've worked in different customer service kind of situations where people, that's normally how they are. So when I heard the story about like how he kind of was like so cold about it, I'm like, he should be so grateful that she is not making a stink. She feels bad that like she's even like bothering you people for a Band-Aid for her damn knee. And it did happen on their property. Even though it was over there, it did happen on their property. And you still weren't like, and you weren't even asking for anything. And there's just so many people who are just dying to have a little divot accident at a place like that. And I felt after that they were watching us and they just wanted us to leave.
They just wanted us to leave. And little do they know that we are doing stuff like this, very social media heavy. So I could have easily just blasted them. And
you could have right then, when you did that knee video, you could have been like, here I am. Look, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. The guy was kind of a dick.
So
I don't care if I ever go back to Tooth and Nail Winery.
Ooh, she named names. And it's unfortunate.
It is.
And sometimes situations show people's true colors, and we saw their true colors that day.
That was the second time of me. I gave him 2 chances.
Yeah.
And you know what? When we left, I remember when we were leaving, because we didn't really quite get the photo that we wanted with like the moat behind us. And Danielle was like, oh, we should take it over here, because the way the sun was kind of facing us at that point, and this was right after Danielle had her talk with this dude, we were kind of on the side where the moat was. And I wanted a really cute picture with like Minnie and with Danielle, even with Metal Jesus, you know, and it just wasn't working out because of the sun where it was. So when we were leaving, Danielle was like, oh, perfect. I was so over it. And at that point, it no longer looked beautiful to me anymore. It just looked like, oh, this is your hook that you get people in. And you know what? No offense. One of my friends recommended this place, so I'm not saying all people there, because my friend isn't this way. He's not even really a wine person. His husband is more of a wine person. That's why they went. And but a good percentage of the people that were there came off kind of douchey. So to me, that kind of tells me, like, Danielle and I both, I mean, I don't even speak for you, but I feel like you'll agree because I know you. we love going to like really fancy, fun places. But if it's gonna be like a not so positive vibe, like who cares? I'd rather be at some homey place that I feel good, people feel good. Growing up, like even though I wasn't allowed to do anything the couple times I always chose to like go to a friend's kick it like party at their house or whatever. Even recently Danielle and I bumped into some people or a person that back in the day they used to have these, we call it the fun house, and they'd have these awesome house parties where they'd have karaoke, but like the guys that lived there played instruments, so it would be
I was
like
a singer.
Yep. It'd be like live karaoke. So like that's my vibe, that's Danielle's vibe. Even though we do like to bougie it up, but I don't like to bougie it up if the whole like overall vibe is stuck up or douchey. To me, I'm like, what a waste. Like this place is awesome, but like, and that's how I felt about this place. It's like it lost its enchantment with me because of the vibe there.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate, but I did enjoy the time before the spill. And I actually am working on a video to share my experience. And I almost was like, should I do a separate video of the fall or just include it in the story? Because that's like the highlight of the story. Because I can't believe I actually got it on camera.
That's the best part.
It is. So I'm like, you know what? I just stay tuned. Like I'm literally making this video like speeding up every scene. So it's literally like at right now like 2 minutes. So.
Well, we'll look forward to that, and then
Yes.
once you post that, we'll definitely post it below too. So let's get into this interview because it is a long one.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. So here we go. We're gonna Martinez McFly back into time.
Whoa.
When we're sitting right here, no makeup, all gross, but we did it. Here it is.
OG.
All right, ladies and gents, here we have the one, the only Mr. Kevin Gootee. This
Ladies,
Oh,
pleasure.
There we go. So here's what's going on, people. So I'm an idiot.
You idiot.
Once again.
Surprise, surprise.
So not only we'll get into the details in a second. Not only did I go on Kevin's podcast and completely not do the task at hand like an idiot, but today I was like, oh yeah, I'm sitting here. We did the Regal Beagle happy hour, and I'm like, okay, 7:30. It's a couple hours. All right, maybe get some Subway and all this, and then all of a sudden I get an email, and Kevin's like, I'm in there, and I'm like, oh.
Well, prior to that, we opened the garage door. We're having a real deep talk about life. Real deep. And just like, wow. And then all of a sudden I get this news. I was like, what?
I heard the garage door go, there is some serious shit going on. Like you're about to smoke it up and you got to vent it out, or there is some shit afoot that you don't want people to see from the streets. Either or.
A little bit of
I'm
D.
down.
You know what I mean?
But
So
thank you.
anyways, welcome to Martinez Girlz Radio. Would you
Thank
please,
you.
first of all, before we get into like all the details, why don't you tell everybody about your podcast? I was on it. It was really awesome. And if you could just let people know, and I want to know too, because when I was on your show, you know, we were doing your formula. So something that I'm really curious about is how you came up with the whole concept of your podcast and how like that whole, so give us the history of that.
Yeah. I can do all of that. I love that's my second favorite topic besides me, number one. My podcast is called Gutting the Sacred Cow. Why? Because we invite guests like Shelly to pick a film they find overrated or hate. Now, here's the twist. They're going to try and convince us to see their argument, but they have to pick a film that is either A, widely beloved, B, critically acclaimed, or C, a financial success. So you can't come on and go, you know what? Friday the 13th, part 8, it's a real piece of shit. Yeah, we know that it is. So we give a platform to those people who have unpopular opinions about films that are, like I said, successful, beloved, or acclaimed, and try and convince us to see their point. Now, sometimes we agree with them wholeheartedly, like, yes, this movie does suck, or it's all right, I'm not going to die on the hill for that. Or No, you're a fucking asshole. That film is fantastic. You are very wrong and should, commit Harry Carey post haste. You're muted.
Sure am.
So I'm a movie snob. I love debating with people about films, and I'm very opinionated. I'm sure you're going to find out. Or if you're a fan of my podcast, Cutting the Sacred Cow, you will find out. So I thought, let's have a movie podcast, but every other jerk off does the same movie podcast where it's 4 dudes sitting around a table drinking beers like, yeah, man, Empire Strikes Back's better than Jedi. No, fuck you. Star Wars is better than Empire. No, fuck you. Jedi's better. No one cares about your opinion. Your opinion's and you're not funny. Most people do this stuff. So I said, we need to be funny and we need to be very unique with our podcast ideas. So again, having ideas like I want to have people on as well as we go on and we attack films that we think that are overrated or defend them. So again, it's never been done. No one else is doing what we're doing. That's why I chose it. I've created a few other shows, and that's my thing is taking a very common thing or common element, but putting one hell of a unique spin on it. And that way you hook people in there. So we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're also not creating, pulling something out of the third dimension that's completely unheard of.
I thought it was really cool because, I connected with you through Stoner Jesus. And so
Right.
when I was like preparing to be on your show and I watched that, Danielle and I are both, my bong's named Dorothy Gale. We're huge Wizard of Oz fans. So what I loved about it is even though I'm still a Wizard of Oz fan, watching what you guys go at it and talking about your points, like I just was so stimulated. Like it was so cool because it was funny.
Yeah.
And then
Thank you.
it was like this stimulating, cool conversation because I'm the type of person that I don't like to one up somebody. I like to keep seeing how, like tennis. Let's keep seeing how long we can keep hitting the ball. Like we're not trying to get a point. It's like let's just keep going back and forth and seeing how much we can go. And I really get a rush off of that. And that's what when I saw the Stoner Jesus one, I was like, dude, I love this. It's just like it's something that I haven't seen like that in that formula.
Yeah.
And you could still walk away still loving whatever you guys are talking crap about and making good points, and you could still walk away loving the film. And I thought that was really, really cool. So my glass is off to you, sir, on that.
Thank you.
In this day and age, I know there's so much content out there for people to like check out or whatever, but like just have some old school, like you're kicking it with people and just talking shit. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah. Oh, we excel in the talking shit department. That is our forte.
Well, there was a comment that you made in there about Nick Cannon and the turban, and I like that got me. I was like, oh my
Did it?
gosh, that was hilarious.
I'm so glad to hear that because I thrive and revel in making these just innocuous jokes. And when it hits people, it hits them like a thunderbolt. Like I love making those kind of like references where, if you're an 80s film fan or something like that, or something a little off, I like the off the beaten path jokes more than I like the common ones I do. I love getting those jokes in there and people like that. That's brilliant. Like I'll do it. I wrote a joke. It was about, the movie Highlander. Have you gals seen it? No, don't rush. It sucks. So in the openings, the first 5 minutes. So Highlander, there can be only one. Then they have to cut the head off and shit. Okay. So they're fighting. It's a Highlander and this German dude are fighting in the parking garage at Madison Square Garden in the city. All right. In Manhattan. And the one dude, the German dude, is doing fucking handsprings and cartwheels through the garage where there's no point of that. And I said, I haven't seen someone do gymnastics like that without Larry Nassar's thumb in their asshole. And our guest was, I hit you too, apparently. That hit our guest, Race to Canis. He almost did a spit take, like spit out his drink. I didn't see that one coming. So I like making those off the wall, those off the wall. Like you got to think for a second, but when it hits you, bang, like exactly that one that you pulled out, Danielle. Those are my favorite kind of jokes. The smart people jokes. Don't get me wrong, I like thinking fart jokes too, but sprinkle a little bit of those other ones in.
You have to have those too. And that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Sometimes you just it just flows like a puzzle, but sometimes
the ones that are so unexpected, like, wait, what? Nick Cannon, why are you talking? Oh my gosh. And it all comes together.
Thank
Oh,
you.
comes
I
together.
see you're a fellow Menza member along with myself. Good to have some fellow company.
So now tell us about your comedy journey, career, and everything, and how it kind of all ties in.
Oh my God. So it's weird. How much time do we have? So I'll tell you the story of how I got started. I think it's pretty, I know it's unique. So I've been in corporate America for a long time, still am, unfortunately, not until this podcast pays off or the other shows I'm trying to pitch. So I was kicking in 2009. I was kicking the idea around. I'm like, you know what? Corporate America fucking sucks. I was a drug rep for Merck at the time. And I said, there's more to life than just waking up, not, doing the 9 to 5 and then just counting down the hours until the weekend, because you're wishing away 67% of your life, which is not the way to go. Then and next thing you're going to blink and be 45. Next thing blink, it'll be 65, and then blink and you're dead. Like, what's going on in life? I said, and I've had the usual people who've always said, hey, you're funny, or they think about doing comedy. I was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. And then I saw in the theater Up in the Air with George Clooney. That's a fantastic film, and I cannot recommend it to you both enough if you have not seen it. So if you have not, I'll tell your viewers the Cliff Notes version. He flies around the country. He gets paid by companies to fire their employees for downsizing. So there's one scene he flies out and he fires the guy who plays the drum, the band teacher in Whiplash, and also Spider-Man, J. Jonah Jameson, the guy, the commercial, the insurance commercials. J.K. Simmons, that's his name. He fires him. And J.K. Simmons looks at him and goes, what do I tell them? And he shows up his wallet, which has a picture of his kids. And he goes, well, and Clooney looks at his resume. He says, well, it says here in your resume, you went to school for the culinary arts. You graduated and you got a job as a pastry chef in a French restaurant. And the line that shot a bolt of lightning up my ass was, tell me this, how much did they pay you to give up on your dream? And he goes, $25,000 a year. I go, holy shit. Like, that was like the lightning bolt come to Jesus moment for me. I go, fuck it. So then I took 3 months, wrote a bunch of jokes that I thought were funny. They really weren't. And I went to, after 3 months of just rehearsing it, I wrote everything down. I recorded it. I burned it onto a CD and just listened to that shit nonstop in my car. So I memorized it. And I went to my first open mic, March 12th, 2010 in the West Village in Manhattan. And that's how I started. And yeah.
All right. Well, how did you and your co-hosts, are you guys friends from like
Have you ever heard of a glory hole? No, just kidding.
Oh
Just kidding. No, Kevin, yeah, she's like, wait, really? You? No, you look like Johnny Lawrence, for Christ's sakes. I couldn't see that coming. No, I know Kevin. We're both comics. We never worked together. I met him once in person at a roast for a friend, but he would pop on my comments if I had a movie post and vice versa. And then when I had the idea for this, I put it out there. I go, hey, I'm going to do a movie podcast. I mean, people know me as a movie snob and a sports guy. So when I talk, it's usually about one of those two things or making fun of people. So 3 things. So I said, hey, I'm looking to do a movie podcast. I'm looking for a co-host. A bunch of people were in the comment section, and he chimed in. He was like, yeah, man, I'm interested. Now, I know his background, and Kevin is also a corporate America guy, and I know how he would take this shit seriously and put the work in and do whatever I needed to do, because I do pretty much everything. I'm the creator, the host, the director, the editor, the fluffer, you fucking name it, and I do it. It's all thank you for getting. Shelly goes, so yeah, but Kevin's great at that. So and he understands the business side of it too. So I knew by having him, and he's a good omega to my alpha at times. Like 75% of the time we have the same agreements with in film taste. He's also more of like the cleaner comic, PG-13. I'm more of the raunchy, get down and dirty. And really, I call sometimes someone said, like, you're a cerebral frat boy. I go, all right, cool. I was in a fraternity, so that hits. That hits. That hits. I was like, all right. So we have a good yin and yang with that, with our personalities as well as our humor styles. So right then and there, I said, I don't need to. I said, you're in. That's it. Done. So I go, we're in, and we did our first episode, and you could just tell because he's done a few podcasts before. I've done a few podcasts before. they all just fizzled out, either A, because the material was nothing great, or B, the co-host and everybody else wasn't pulling their weight, or C, it just sucked, you know? And I said, and he goes, "You've got a winner here. I love your idea." We did 2 episodes. I go, "Yeah, this is going to be good." And we've knocked out shit, like 116 episodes or so. So here we are. 2.5 years later, almost, right? Yeah, almost 2.5 years later.
Cool. Very, very cool.
Thanks.
Well, I come from a lot of corporate America, food industry, everything. I have seen the underbelly, and I recently got fired. The day before-
Congrats.
Thank you. I worked really hard to get fired.
We've all listen. I've been downsized too, Danielle. It sucks ass and it happens. It blows. So I feel
Yeah.
for you. I'm joking.
And then you have this moment where you're, trying to apply for unemployment, which is impossible these days, but you have time for yourself, and then you realize, oh my gosh, how many years have I just not focused on and what I want to do, my passion.
Right.
We have little snippets of it where maybe one weekend I film this or I do a podcast here and that, but to be fully committed, this is what you do, and being able to have that balance in your life. You're like, oh wow, that was an option. Because this whole time I thought that this is what I
Right.
yeah, and so I don't know if you're on Instagram, if you follow I think it's called Employee to Person, has Michael Scott as a little icon. It's all like breaking about
It's about griping about what? You were breaking up as you said that.
Being in the workforce.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been to a ton of corporate American meetings, and my dad called it best. He goes, "We called it back in my day bullshit bingo." So whenever someone would say like a dumb cliche, like ding, like 50,000 foot view, ding, or I'll ping you later, ding, or we'll parking lot that for later. We're not going to get to that now. Let's not get in the weeds. Ding, ding, ding. Like, oh, and the fake amount of conversations you have at these events. You're like, all you want to do is no one cares. Just tell me about how you took on 2 dudes from your softball team at your local Applebee's bathroom. Like, that's what we really want to talk about.
Exactly.
Not about what business is like in your territory. I don't fucking care. You're both like, yup.
Yeah.
What did you do in the food industry? What was your thing?
Oh my gosh, I'm such a person who I'm a jack of all trades, Jane of all trades. So I've worked in pretty much all the industries. I was a barista. I used to work at a French restaurant, like serving wine and beer and coffee. I used to meal prep at a healthy food place. So I'd make the food, which was my favorite because you don't have to talk to people, which
Right.
just go and pack, put your headphones on and prep food. So yeah, I did that, like very light serving, those kind of things. And I did retail for a long time. And then I worked in the medical industry as a manager at a veterinary hospital. And then I work at a medical spa that's all like plastic surgery and Botox, this and that. So a little bit of all of it, and it all sucks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're at the medical spa with all those LA assholes in there coming in with their hoity-toity horse shit. You're like, shut up. You might want to you should probably switch their vials. Like, oh, you think you're gonna get some Botox and put like fucking prune juice in there or something.
Oh, but here's the thing. The problem was the people that were the one person that was behind the scenes that had it out for Danielle. That's what the problem was.
Why? She was too pretty to work there? Is that why?
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you this. Okay, so on the Christmas party they had, Danielle took me as her +1. I was making eye contact with this girl. I was ready to like fight her if I had to. Like this bitch. Like for real. And she wouldn't look at me. When she first met me, I was like, I went to shake her hand and she literally went like this. Like she backed away from me. And it's like,
yeah, because you're in the WWF. They're like, she's gonna fucking knock me out.
WWF doesn't matter. I'm Shelly, bitch.
Chola vibes.
F you, like you disrespectful bitch. And she had it out for Danielle. And it's so dumb because my gripe with it is they let Danielle go. They let this bitch get her way that was new. But like at the same time, they gave Danielle a parting gift. They gave her Christmas bonus and said, we'll give you a really good referral.
They knew they were firing. and they still had me working for them until the very end. On my last day, I still had to clock in and work until like the end of the day.
Bitch.
So I'm like, that's what.
How did you not go out like Antonio Brown did? That's what I would have done. Like, oh, you think this is gonna go as a smooth ship? I mean, as a nice referral, that's as insulting as like when Clark Griswold's boss gave him the Jelly of the Month Club gift certificate on Christmas bonus. Like, yeah, oh.
Equivalent.
I would have been like, all right, well, guess what? Guess who's gonna upper deck every toilet in this spa? Me.
But
that's hilarious.
It is the world.
And so
I used to work in restaurants too, Danielle, so I fucking completely sympathize.
I want one good story. What's like the story that you have to tell everybody? Your gripe, whatever. What is the one story?
I mean, I had sex with some of the waitresses there. That's pretty cool too. But
Duh.
Of course you did, frat boy.
Duh. I mean, that was a big. Like everyone was fucking. The only thing missing was like a greasy, like shitty swingers club buffet there. That's the only thing that was missing. Actually, there was a restaurant. There was a buffet. No, it wasn't a buffet. It was Chili's, for Christ's sakes. No. I tell you what. I'll tell you. Chili's, right? Highbrow dining, everybody. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you gross out stories. How about that? Like food, like shitty food stories.
Okay.
So 2 things I witnessed with my own 2 peepers right here. One dude caught 2 cockroaches in the back. All right. He goes, let's have an idea. I got an idea. And he took them in a cup and put them on the flat top grill. And he goes, and they watched like who we put money on who would get to the end first. But guess what? Their legs burned off halfway through. There was no winner. And yeah. Oh yeah. And then the second, I got another one too. I tried 3 stories. So the second one was one of the guys was dipping on the line with, chewing tobacco. He hit a spitter on the line. The cup tipped over and spilled on a bunch of burgers grilling, and there was like cherry skull. He goes, oh well, just flipped them over and kind of pressed out the juice. But there's a third one, and this is bad on me. There was this kid, like a high school kid, like I was like 19, 20. He was like, I don't know, freshman or sophomore in high school. He's a dork. He's a sweet kid, but such a dork. He had this real nasal voice. And we hazed the shit out of this guy. We made him raise his hand if he wanted to talk. So he said something like trying to bust balls. You go, Dave, put sour cream in your ear right now. Put sour cream in your ear. So he was walking around with sour cream in his ear for the rest of the shift. We locked him in the liquor cage in the back, and then took the hose and sprayed him while I was in the liquor cage. Here's the funniest thing. You're gonna love this. We told the manager, we were cool with the managers. They're like, not burnouts, but barely above a burnout. I go, whatever you do, whatever Dave tells you, just tell him yes. Just tell him yes, that's true. So we told Dave that they put cameras in the walk-in fridge. And I go, Dave, you see up there? You see that little hole up there? They're drilled cameras in there because everyone's stealing the booze. We put it at the bottom of the trash cans, put a bag over it, let the garbage fill up, take the trash out, and then take the booze, put it in our cars, and party time after work. So then I go, Dave, there's the cameras there. I go, you know what? Go give Joe the finger. Like, fuck him. He made you come in on a Sunday during football. He's like, hey, Joe, fuck you, and throw up the fingers and all that shit. So then I told him, I told Joe, we told Dave that there are cameras in the walk-in. Go bust his balls. Like, just tell him, like, I saw you give me the finger, you piece of shit. You got a problem, you come to me directly. So he calls Dave in like 10 minutes later, and you hear him yelling, like, what the fuck? You giving me the finger? Like, and just you hear the whole thing. And then like, I don't know, the door opens and the kid shook. He shook. And I forgot, one of us was like, gotcha, bitch. And he's like, what? And the manager's like, he's doubled over red with tears in his face, laughing his ass off, like, what? And and we were just cracking up. And he's like, you motherfuckers did that to me. It was so funny. And the manager's like, Dave, just, you could, sit on the, go make yourself a meal. Take as long as you want to eat it, get whatever you want to drink, whatever. It's cool. It's just being a good sport kind of thing. So yeah, we used to fuck with people. It was fun. It was fun.
Well, at least it was in good nature at the end of the
day.
Don't get me wrong, you liked him, right?
Yeah. He was like this nerdy kid. Like, if someone like were to get him shit, like he'd have like 10 guys like, you're fucking with Dave, you're gonna fuck with all of us. Right. Yeah. He was a good kid, but like a dork. Like, he was like that cousin. You're like, oh look, here comes Lee or Leonard or some shit like that, and just fuck with Leonard.
And you know what? I feel like people like that sometimes, I'm not saying in the case of this fellow, but sometimes, like, that's the only kind of positive interactions
Yeah.
I have with people. Like, you know what I mean? Like at first when you're telling the story, I was a little mad at you, but then like when you kept going on, I was like, okay, I get this. Like you were just busting balls, and I
Yeah.
love busting balls. So then I got it, and it's like, and I think that's why I like busting balls too with people like that sometimes, is because or sometimes if I see the guys are busting balls and something like that, I'll be like, act like a bitch to the guys that busting balls and be really, really nice to the whatever. Because sometimes that's like literally all they have. Like, and it's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad, but not like, oh, I feel sad. But it's just like that life, like there's so many assholes out there that like people just treat people like crap, like without thinking about like putting themselves in someone's shoes or whatever. So it's like when you can bust balls in a real true way, it's like that's the joke, that's the punchline. Like when
Yeah.
he's sitting there crying, it's like that's the reaction he deserved to have, that you guys orchestrated. You took your time.
Oh
to
yeah, it was elaborate. Let me tell you, elaborate.
And
you know,
sounds very
got
planned
the
out.
manager guy involved, and
Yeah.
like it's a good that's a good one. That's a
Oh,
good one.
thanks.
So speaking of
Thank you.
movie references, I
Yeah.
know this is probably your favorite movie.
Oh, let me hear this. This is gonna be good. Unless you've done your homework, I'm probably gonna laugh at you.
How much you love Legally Blonde.
I've never seen it. By the way, that was a Final Jeopardy answer the other night, and I didn't know the answer because they said the 2001 comedy is a mix between Clueless and The Paper Chase. I go, I haven't seen The Paper Chase. I mean, I've seen Clueless, but I'm like, I don't know. And they all got it right. Like Legally Blonde, I go, I've never seen it. And I have no desire to see it. So
Oh, it's a good
Well,
movie.
from the girls wearing pink with our little fun sparkly background, there's a scene in there where there's this real nerdy guy trying to ask out these girls, and they're like, oh, you're such a loser. And then the lead lady is like, oh my gosh, they think he's a loser. So she goes and she slaps him. It's like, oh, how could you give me the best love that you've ever given me, or make love to me and just leave me, something like that. And then she walks away, and the girls like want him. You know?
yeah. Yeah. I thought they tell me about the Legally Blonde porno where she's, they make fun of him and then he drops his pants. He's got about 12 inches. And they're like, well, maybe not.
I haven't seen it. Don't care.
I haven't. I just completely made that up. I don't know if there is one. I'm sure there is, but
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
a franchise. They have
So
to.
they made 2 Legally Blondes. I'm sure there's like Legally Blonde, like 35, and I don't know.
Unlegally.
Unlikely.
Oh, you sure you don't work in the porno industry too with those kind of smart titles? Unlegally, illegally.
Oh no. So what would you say? I know that you probably have quite a few, but on your show, which one is like the one that's like your favorite, or like meant something like that was a little extra special to you, or it just stands out to you the most?
So that's like asking which of your kids are the favorite.
I know.
We all have a favorite kid. So I'd say I'm going to answer your question with options because I honestly, I'm not trying to skirt the issue. I have so many for so many reasons. I'll give you a couple. I love our Batman Returns episode because Mike Price, who writes for The Simpsons and F is for Family, one of the nicest fucking people in Hollywood you will ever meet. He did Batman Returns, and then because I'm usually the one who books you, like Shelly. Go when you have to pick the film, and when I told Kevin, he goes, he picks Batman Returns. I go, dude, Batman Returns is fucking great. Like he's in deep shit. We both rewatched Batman Returns. Like, oh man, this doesn't hold up. Like that was the first.
No.
That was the first. Like, oh shit. Like it's not as good as you remember it. Movie. I will say I love Dave Landau as one of our favorite panelists. Because he is an absolute juggernaut. He did Good Will Hunting. He did The Social Network. He did Philadelphia. He is an absolute monster. I'll even say, and this is no horse shit, Shelly, I loved your episode because you were so innocent when you fucked up. You saw the Twitter comments because you tagged. The audience loved her, Danielle. They're like, holy shit. Like people are like, because I said the twist in this episode, this is not a marketing ploy. This is me not trying to churn up the clickbait. no one can truly forecast what is about to happen here. And I had so many people like DMing us or just putting it out there like, holy fuck, I couldn't have drawn that up. If you gave me a room full of monkeys with typewriters for a month, they never would have drawn up that conclusion of her watching the sequel. And the best part was you were so fun about it. And it wasn't like an fuck. Like you were so good at the way you handled it. People loved you for that. So that's another one of our favorite ones. And I will say I loved our live show. We're going to do another live show. But our live show we had with Bill Schultz and Joy Nosachinsky from the morning show on the Compound Media, which is Anthony Cumia. I'm sure you heard of Opie and Anthony. They were really big out here. I think the late 2000s, I would say. Anyway, we did a live show, and this is last year. Actually, it's almost, holy shit, it's about a year ago already. We did the Karate Kid because Cobra Kai was coming out for that next season. So Bill and Joanne, we rented out a theater, and we did that. We watched the movie right then and there, and then we did an episode right after the film was over in a theater. And it was pretty well packed for having, I think, we allowed to have like half it filled. So it was really cool, and I can't wait to do our next one. So those are a few of our favorite ones. Oh, and I also say every year, Kevin and I take our turn in the gutter seat, which is where we pick a film and then invite co-hosts to come sit in and hear us argue. Kevin did last year, he did The Shining, and I did A Christmas Story. And then this year he did 300, and I did Princess Bride. So I tore those apart. So yeah, those are a few of our favorites for me. You made a face, Danielle. Which one kind of got your panties in a bunch?
Well, a little bit of both, because 300, when it first came out, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, all these dudes all rock hard, fluffing each other up during the same takes. Yeah, that's hot.
Was it Russell Crowe, right? He was the lead.
No, Gerard Butler, but close enough. They look very similar and have that same goofy accent.
Okay, so Gerard Butler, was he not the Phantom of the Opera? Or am I getting my wires
I think
crossed?
you're making it up, but a quick Google could fix that.
Because I know you don't like musicals, but
right.
I believe
look at you doing your homework.
Because I know that they wanted a rock star quality Phantom, and so they went with him. And so that's my experience with him as an actor. So when I heard that he was going to be 300, that's totally different from the singing Phantom. And so when I was like, oh my. And I was like really enthralled. I was younger. And then now when I try to watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how like cheesy. Oh, really? Why?
I'm sorry.
And then Princess Bride, I always knew, come on, Humperdinck. Let's just start.
Terrible. Hate it.
And when you're in junior high and you're hearing Humperdinck, everyone's laughing in the classroom. But,
Did you go to school with wheels in the bottom of them, Danielle? Did you stay in the same classroom from morning to the end of the day? I'm teasing. I hate it because it's all nostalgia. And the whole idea, I'm going to ruin the episode in 2 or 3 sentences. The fairy tale thing has been done to death, but you know what? It's been done better. Disney's a master at it. This film is not. It's not funny. It's not adventurous. And people prop this film up because they've seen it on repeat on TNT or TBS ad nauseum when they were in elementary school, junior high, whatever, because of 2 fucking quotes that are some of the worst quotes in the history of mankind. I hate that. And the film drags, and the characters are not memorable, and the inconceivable. I wish you'd fall into a wood chipper. I barely use the word. I barely use that word because I hate it from that film alone. And if again, corporate America, some asshole. If you have like some people wear the name badges if they're new. Hello, my name is. Some asshole always writes, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my." I'm like, fuck you, you uninspiring, unoriginal hack. Thank you.
Well, what you guys brought up in the Wizard of Oz video is that there was a book that was a precursor, and there's a lot of movies that are based off of books, and it just doesn't quite translate. And I actually played Dorothy in my high school musical. Thank you very much.
I see the resemblance, the red hairish. Well, at least the way that the light's hitting it.
Actually, and like, because I was just a singer and actress, and like, okay, so I did it. And I read the book prior to that, and the book had this whole chapter on these this glass city with glass people. And even The Princess Bride, there's so much. And even The Great Gatsby. Mm-hmm. I prefer the old 1970s Great Gatsby over the new one with hip hop music and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Never saw it. The Redford one, we had to watch that in high school, the Robert Redford one. And I just remember them, everybody calling each other sports. I go, oh, this is it? Okay. And then Daisy, all right. I wasn't impressed. I haven't seen it in so long. Maybe I'd appreciate it more because you're in high school. Like, bah, if it's on Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone, that sucks. You know, and again, then you get mature and whatever. So I haven't seen it in a while, but I didn't see the Baz Luhrmann version with DiCaprio and Maguire. No thanks.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing: is like, again, I love that you guys have this like I still love Princess Bride. I know it's bad, but that's why I like it. Like there's some movies, they're so bad that that's why I like them, and it's the camp of it. I'm camp, but it's just going back to that whole thing where people can bring up you guys bring up the point that like you could be like, I didn't think about that before. Oh yeah, or you know what, I kind of feel that way too, but doesn't mean that you turn your back on what you do love. You know what I'm saying? Like for
No, I
me,
get you. You've been around for so long, and that's something we say too. It's like, look, we may not get you to flip sides, but I guarantee you, we're going to give you at least 2 to 5 points. You go, shit, they're right. That is a good point, and I may have to knock that score down a point just because they're right. And we pride ourselves on being right with a lot of this shit. Like, even if you love it. I do feel some films are completely irredeemable, excuse me. Like Napoleon Dynamite's one of the worst films ever made, and I'll mow you over like a tank if you try and fight that. That film's fucking terrible from top to bottom. But there are other films where like, all right, I get it. Like I didn't see Dirty Dancing for the first time until I think a year ago. I'm like, all right, it's not that bad. It's tolerable. Will I watch it again? No chance. But will I watch Grease again? No fucking way. Grease is awful. It's terrible. It's shit. But I get why people like it. I can see like where you can like certain things, but you know, it depends. It depends on the film, obviously.
that was my whole point with going into the Dumb and Dumber with you guys was like, I get like when something's not my cup of tea, but I could still see how people would like it. But with
Right.
the Dumb and Dumber, I just didn't see it. I still haven't watched it. I still haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
The first one, but
You sure watched the second one though.
and I liked it. I'll watch it again. If it was on TV, I'd watch
The
it again.
second one is so pedestrian compared to the first, Shelly. I'm telling you, there are moments, but in the second, you're like, but when you watch it again, you're like, God damn, that wasn't good. And again, it breaks my rule of sequels. I should wrote a term paper this in college, ladies. Here's my rule of sequels. If you ever hear someone talk about sequels, you just make sure you quote me. The rule of sequels should be twofold. A, you can never have if it's a sequel, you can never have the original from an R and then go to a PG-13. It never works out. B, you cannot have a sequel more than 10 years after the original. It loses all momentum, and the more you think about it, the more it sucks. Case in point, Indiana Jones 3 is amazing, and 4 stinks. And then, of course, the Star Wars sequels stunk. The last 3 were not good. And we can go on and on and on and on and on and on, but you get the point.
That's how I feel too about some TV shows like Arrested Development. I love. And then I wanted it to come back, but like so much time went between when they came back with that like last season that it just
Right.
kind of like the characters didn't mesh well, and it was because they hadn't been in practice and like vibing like they were all those like seasons and seasons.
Mhm.
Like they took that break. Maybe things happened in life. They're a little bit different now. And it's like they should have just left it. They shouldn't have done that. So movies, it's the same thing when they wait
Sure.
too long.
Yeah.
It's like it already had its heyday.
Not that I've seen it. I'm sure I've heard a lot, but that the same thing goes with the Sex and the City reboot, where everyone goes, "It's fucking trash." That's what I've heard from virtually everybody who's seen it. They're like, "Yeah, it got away from what it was. 4 girls just trying to score dick in the city, and that's it." And then it gets all woke and shit. And you're like, "No, it's not that. It's 4 girls going to brunch, getting fucked up, and banging dudes. That's it."
Yeah.
We are so Sex and the City girls, and the first movie, I was like, okay. And like when I'm going through a breakup or a weird time in my life, I'll put it on. That's like my comfort food. And
That's your therapy movie, Sex and the City.
It's good.
Yes, come on.
No, I'm just taking like some I don't know. I'm just gonna generalize, so bear with me. It's just you would expect like Oh, that's there you go. Okay, see that's a comedy. I can see that's why the case. It's, all right, it's going to cheer you up, or maybe like a romance film, like or a horror film, just to kind of take your mind out of it. But Sex in the City is like a therapy film. That's all right if it works for you. I'm not going to fucking question it. That was a
Rom-com.
curious selection. What's that?
It's rom-com.
There. Okay. Is it? Is there comedy in that? No. All
There's
right.
some
yeah.
it's like very like tongue-in-cheek comedy and just very satirical and just lifestyle little things. Carrie farts, and there's a whole episode about her farting. And it became an issue in our relationship.
What's episode 2? Samantha Queefs.
No, that's in season 3. So I have a question. Have you ever done Mannequin on your show?
No, it wouldn't qualify because it's no one gives a shit about it. See, that's the thing too. When someone picks a film, even if it does meet one of those metrics, I want to look at it and go, the goal is for me as the creator to have the audience look at that and go, this week's episode is, and I want the listener to look at their phone and go, what the fuck? Like, perfect case in point. Next week, we're taping an episode with Delvin Cox, one of our buddies. He chose Fast and the Furious the last time, or first time he chose Avatar. Do you know what film he's choosing for next week? And I'm telling you, this is going to get the pitchforks and the torches out. Get ready for this, ladies. Ready? He's chosen Jaws.
Ooh. There's some
People are going to be fucking pissed. I'm pissed. I'm like, you son of a bitch. That film is perfect. So he's gonna eat the wrong end of a revolver. I promise you. That's for sure. So that's the goal. So yeah, Mannequin. That no one. Yeah, everyone knows Mannequin's like a guilty pleasure. It's a dumb, stupid 80s, typical 80s schlock film. That's fine. It's a guilty pleasure by all means, but no one's gonna get pissed if someone comes and goes, Mannequin sucks. Yeah, we know it sucks. We get it.
The only reason why I brought it up is because I always loved it so much so that like I wanted Danielle to see it, and I was trying to get it online. I just couldn't, so I ended up ordering the DVD, waited for it to come, and I was so excited. And I have seen it over time. It's not like just when I was a little girl I saw it. Like I've seen it, and I was so excited. And when we watched it, I was so just like angry and upset that it wasn't. And I was mad at the main character, Jonathan. And I was just like, oh, so that's why I bring it up. It's just like, I know it has a cult following, but it was one of those ones that I revisited and I was like, man, this really is not what I thought.
I never saw Mannequin 1 nor Mannequin 2 on the move because, again, who cares?
There's a Mannequin 2.
What happened? They had a family? You had a family with a plastic?
So what happened was the first one was so, I guess, moderately successful. Screenwriters in the 80s in Hollywood go, let's get a pile of Coke and try and hash out a real shitty script really fast. And they did, and it's terrible from what I've heard. I love how Shelly medicates off camera every 5 minutes. That's hilarious.
Well, because I put this on YouTube and I don't want them getting all pissy. And I used to put little fun graphics over it, but that just takes too much time.
Yeah.
And I don't make
I am a friend.
So like if I made money off YouTube, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll take that time in it, but I don't. So it's like, this is what you get, people. So I'm going to just go up. We all know what I'm doing. But
that could be fentanyl for all we know, folks. But let's just get.
Some people, including us, we vaporize things like lavender and chamomile. There's other herbs on this earth. There is that you can smoke.
It sounds like you're in college and you're blowing the weed smoke through a toilet paper holder with a tissue with the fabric sheet on the end of it, like chamomile and other fragrance, it's kind of stuff. That's funny. Chamomile.
Look preppy. That's lavender. Not what's going on over here.
It's gonna smell like a fucking Hallmark store when you walk in your garage. I bet.
What's wrong with that?
Nice. Nothing at all. It smells quite delicious, actually.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. I have a question. We kind of talked about before the show, and I need answers. Yeah. So when you said something about twin, I go, "There's no way you're twins. There's no way you're twins."
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me tell you something. We said this before I push record. So Kevin he was like, "Oh, you guys don't look like sisters at all, whatever." And it's so funny to us because there's people, like I told him, 2 groups of people. Some people that are like, oh my gosh, you guys are so the same but different. And you could totally, your sisters, like, oh my gosh. And then there's other people like, there's no way in hell. And so this is what it is. When, in my opinion, when I see that people don't see it, they're just seeing, first of all, our size difference, our hair color difference. There's a lot of distractions going on. Mm-hmm. But if we were similar size, because I'm 5'5", and she claims she's 4'11", but it's
Oh, a
it's
spinner. All right, fun.
so she's teeny.
4'11"? Holy shit. We can fit you. You must be swimming in like any kind of coach seat on an airplane. I envy you. I'm 6'2". I can barely fit in these fucking things. I have to get the exit row all the time. These
It
long
comes
ass legs.
with responsibility.
It comes with what?
A responsibility being this shorty.
What's the responsibility besides being
Did you
like
hear
a
all the rap songs? Go shorty. It's your birthday.
Right.
It's all about shorty. There's a lot of pressure on shorty.
There is.
Is it really? So that I mean so being your 4'11", and this now I'm gonna turn the questions on you girls. So 4'11", like that's do you go for not frequent like above average height dudes, or how does that work? Since again, this is perfect for Italian guys because they're 5'5" and below. So this is perfect for you for them. But I mean, like, are you like, oh shit, like that dude's attractive, but he's like 6 foot fucking, I don't know, 5 or whatever, and you're like, Jesus Christ, he's gonna get scoliosis trying to make out with me or something like that. You know, how does this work?
Scoliosis. Well, here's the thing.
I got Shelly with that one. That was a good
I
one.
don't
All right.
want to discriminate, and you're putting me on the spot, but I'm just going to
Yep.
be totally honest. No discrimination. This is just my experience, not trying to generalize anything. Disclaimer, disclaimer. I thought, oh, I'm so short. I can date anybody. There's so many really cute short guys. And there's been a lot of times where I dated guys that are considered short to the world standards.
We call them Italians. We got it. We know.
You and they get really mean and jealous and crazy on me, and I'm like, I can wear high heels and I can still make you look tall. But then I date a lot of really tall guys, and they make me feel safe and secure and awesome, and they get crazy on me too. So I see both sides. But
All
I
right.
win.
Here's my
4'11".
thing. Watching her date these different types of fellows, like I totally was like on board with, yeah, you could totally date a shorter guy and it's not a big deal because I know that even though I'm not super tall, that I've been wearing platform heels since like junior high. So like when I've liked guys that were maybe not so tall, they were like through little man syndrome vibes to me because when I'd have my platforms on,
You're
I was
fucked.
and I'm not going to wear flats. I wear platforms for me, bitch, not for anyone else but me. So
Right.
I saw that already. So when she grew up and she was like petite, I was like, oh, cool. Now she's going to have she's not going to have that problem. And then what I saw is even though she was still petite, these guys she dated, one in particular, it's like so little man syndrome to the max to where it makes them like psychotic and weird and then shady. And so it's like this whole weird thing. And then when she's dated the taller guys, no matter if you're tall or short, douchebags are just douchebags. So that's just dating douchebags. But the short one.
Is it the title of a Dane Cook special? Douchebags or douchebags? No.
But isn't he the douchebag?
No, I made a joke. I don't know. I just made that up. I have no idea. I don't know if he's a douchebag either. I'm just being a wise ass.
I think I would bet that $20 that when you said that I was on my California time and not yours, that same $20 I would put to say that he's a douchebag.
No, that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
I'll match your 20. Let's go all in. We'll buy some dinner after this.
All right.
5. That's funny. So 5. No, you're right. It's so right. And it's funny because, again, 6'2". It's there was a guy at my gym. This dude's like 5'5". He was yoked out of his tits. Huge jack dude. And he was just one of these guys who walked around like a fucking, like his shit didn't stink. And he's something like we made eye contact. He's trying to be funny with his friends. Like, yeah, what? I go, well, listen, you can bench 350. But I can see over a crowd at a concert and his fucking friends just shut up. And they're like, damn. And I go, all that lifting's not going to make you 6 foot, pal. Trust me. And he just was like, his nuts went up inside of his fucking stomach, which was great. But with tall women though, too, it's good because again, tall women have the same thing where it's like they're afraid to, like you'd said, Shelly, wear heels and shit. I would, my dating days go right up to the tall girls and go, this is great. We're having a conversation eye to eye, and this is perfect. And then they're like, oh my God, I can wear heels with this guy. That is, you're 100% right though about the short man syndrome. It's so funny to watch guys get all, especially when the women are successful and they wear heels and they're taller than them. Holy shit. That is like a poisonous concoction right there.
And I'm not trying to be a bitch about it. And I'm not saying that everyone is, but like my experience, that's kind of what I saw. And especially being in the wrestling world, I saw
Right.
how the guys that weren't so tall, not only how they got treated, but how that like made them be kind of like that. And I'm sure they kind of got that their whole life. I'm not saying it's right, but like I
So
kind
you're
of
saying Mr. Fuji was an asshole to you?
I don't think I ever met him, did I? I don't think so. But it's just crazy. And because like when I train with these guys, when you train with people, it's a different level of like knowing people and like whatever. So like, and it's vulnerable. You're being vulnerable because like you're getting into the training mode. And so it was really interesting. And that's what really opened my eyes to that there really is a little man syndrome. Like
I haven't.
like I heard it like growing up, but like to understand it, it's when I saw it in wrestling. And then when I got older and I started seeing it more, it's kind of the same thing with guys that I've dealt with that have a little penis. Like
Oh.
there was one in particular. He was like 6'4", but he had a very small penis.
Been there.
You
Very,
can't
very
call out
small.
Edge from Edge and Christian like that on this show. They're going to sue you.
I wish I would touch them, but no. But it's like, and it was interesting to me, and that's when I learned
Wait, how
about.
small is small though? Because every girl's variation is different.
Okay, I swear to God,
Show by using your hands.
I think we should take a shot before we talk about
see.
this. I see you're drinking a beer, correct?
I am. I'm having a nice little brewski
Okay,
here.
if this was him.
Oh.
Okay,
But
like,
do you want to use the bottle instead?
If he's thick like a Coke can, he's got something
no,
packing
he
there.
wasn't.
Was he skinny? Look at
It was small, but here's the thing. Sorry, Danielle, but when in the right mood, the right vibe, the right energy, it was fine for me. Like not like I enjoyed it. I like that I was expressing my love to my boyfriend. And so it was like the only problem I had was I discovered this weird attitude he had, and it always went back to his dick. And the thing is like, and it's so crazy because I was like, this is so weird. Like, I'm not even complaining or whatever. And like, I'm enjoying myself. So what's the problem, you asshole? Stop being an asshole and be glad that I'm okay with your small dick.
And you don't say anything about it.
It's fine. And so
No, it wasn't, because apparently he's your ex-boyfriend.
no, because he was a big time douchebag. Like, not to bring the party down, but he was like physically abusive. So like, yeah. So
well, the good news, I guess the good news about if you do have a small dick is that anal is always on the table. Well, it can't hurt, can it? See, let's go.
It depends.
Not everybody's down. But that's when I saw that
even on his birthday.
Exit only.
All right. You guys listen to this. Shelly is not that kind of gal, everybody. There's no backdoor shenanigans. By the way, backdoor shenanigans, best emo band no one's ever heard of.
But that's when I saw like, whoa, it's not just little man syndrome in the sense of height. It's also in the penis.
Little man syndrome.
Because I've never seen a penis that small ever since then. Ever. Like, it was really small.
I have a small penis story. Anyone want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
It sounds like we're going to anyway, so by all means.
Well, here's cheers to you and this interview, and to small penises out there, you're still loved. Don't be angry.
Stop being upset.
Just own it.
I don't know who you're talking to. I'm average, so I'll just let all that go. So
the people watching, the two people that watch.
So I dated this guy who he was a very handsome model.
We dated? No, just kidding.
He was like 6'4". He was Latin American, but he had.
First of all, stop. I don't believe that. Latin Americans are not above 6'4". That's insane. That's he must have been a nice hybrid of something.
I would say his name, but I don't want to shame him. But his name was very ethnic, and he had this like great curly hair fro, these light blue eyes, these bushy.
Mario Lopez, got it.
Shut up! You don't even know what Mario Lopez means to me. Let's not even talk about it. Don't bring him up ever.
AC Slater, that's what I call him by. I got Shelly again on that. Man.
We know all about
Rippy. I've heard that in my time. Can you believe that or not?
There's
Oh
a whole,
God, there
okay.
I peed myself. Damn it.
Off the record, I'll have to tell you about my story about him.
All
But
right.
back to the model who was gorgeous and Latin.
He was cute.
He was very handsome, and he was very artistic, and he was all into energy and crystals, and he thought he was
Oh, gross.
a spiritual healer, but he was a actor. And so he took me to a crystal party,
Oh,
and
that's code for fucking meth, right?
Colt, run!
Yes, that too.
and all these people had these crystals, and I was like not interested, and I was smoking out with one of his friends and drinking wine, and his friends were hitting on me in front of him, and his friend, and he's like this tall, handsome model guy, and I'm like, why isn't he like standing up for anything? Like, why is he like letting his friends totally disrespect him and hit on me? And then so yada yada yada, we end up sleeping together.
There seems to be a lot of in between stuff with the yada 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 that I think you're leaving out. That's really going to make this story from go to about a B- to an A+.
Oh, the yada yada has this part because that part was not mentionable. So he
mentioned the bis.
I mentioned this. So he insists on buying magnums. Insists on buying them. The condoms, TMI, slip off because they're just too big, and he is just too small.
No.
And he would, on our first date, joke about killing me. And we were on an Uber ride, and he was joking about how he's going to kill me and what he would do with my body. First date, Uber ride, and the Uber driver, I can feel he was uncomfortable. So there was other instances where I got really afraid of him, and so I got a journal and I started writing down all the things he said and dating it and hiding it.
This sounds like an after school. This sounds like an after school special now that you're dating the character from American Psycho, Christian Bale's character.
You know? So yeah, but he was a tall guy with a little bit of insecurity that he had to get magnums. Come on, just be realistic. You don't just be normal.
That's like throwing like a baseball bat in a garbage can. Nope.
It would always slide off.
Is that him? Oh, that.
That's Danielle's type right there.
Yeah.
That's who she goes
I
out
date
with.
a lot of Norman Bates types. Actually, I do.
Well, I'm more impressed that you gave up on the first date. You're a party girl. That's what's up.
No, I didn't give up on the first date. We dated for a while. That's why I had to because every time.
Yeah, that story had a happy ending.
Okay, again, Colt, run! And the worst part is, at that time, we lived like literally like a minute walk from one of the major Scientology buildings. That like
is that down on is that Sunset or?
No, there's another one that's in a
Next to
different part of
101.
town. But it's the Celebrity Center.
It's a mansion.
The Celebrity
It's
Center.
like a castle mansion.
And you know, maybe like you just never know. I know he never said Scientology to you, but those Scientologists, and sometimes I swear to God, sometimes I would hear like it sound like someone was trying to escape, and like I swear to God, and Danielle one time,
It was Leah Remini. That's who it was.
I know. And then there was one time Danielle and I, there was a Denny's that was nearby, and there was two Scientologist girls. One was hot, and one was like, you know, no offense, but frumpy and like, you know,
No offense.
One was hot.
she was like frumpy, and the other one was this hot, like I don't. Maybe she wanted to be an actress, and they got her in Scientology. So they're talking to this dude, and we're eavesdropping, and they're trying to get this money out of him. And so we watched it go down. Like the one that was more like homely, she like walked away to go pay the bill, and then that's when the cute one went closer to him and was like, so, you know, and then she started laying it on and like coming on to him to like get him to sign up for this whole thing. And that's when I was like, dude, the Scientologists, they are quick. So Danielle's
listen, sure, yeah, we'll do that as soon as I take you in the bathroom and have some fun, because I'm not falling for that shit.
It was crazy.
Cool.
It was crazy living over there. A lot of weird stuff.
Oh yeah, that's when I was doing cook prepping and stuff, and a lot of the people that we catered to were vegans, vegetarians, and stuff, and people on strict gluten diets.
Fun people.
Yeah, totally.
Hey.
The worst personalities.
And we would have like
He's laughing.
all these celebrities come in, and like Kirstie Alley, who's Julia Reifus, is that
No,
Julia
Julia
Lewis.
Louis-Dreyfus.
or no,
Yeah,
Lewis.
Julie Lewis.
Juliette Lewis. We had
Was
what's
Kirstie Alley doing a line of coke off a bunch of pita chips?
You know, it's so interesting seeing those people because, like, for me, like, just the career path I've had and growing up in SoCal, and it's always there. Like, don't get me wrong, it's always been cool and novelty to see a celebrity, but like, I don't, I don't get like all woo. But when we lived over there, it's not like I got starstruck. It was more like it was crazy seeing them like in their. It's like the zoo, like in their habitat, and
In
just
the
watching.
wildlife.
With Kirstie Alley, I'll never forget. There was this really cute little boutique-y, overpriced, very stuck up. I had words with them many times. Wine place, and they had like a little wine shop, and she was in there, and they like, of course, like kind of made it to where people couldn't go in while she was in there, and she was just being all frantic and weird, and it was just like, whoa! It's like going to the zoo and you see the monkeys in their habitat, and they're just going crazy, and you're like in awe of like how like weird it is. And it's like, I don't know, maybe she did do a line, and that's why she was being that way. I don't know, but it was weird just seeing them in that element because it was like a kind of like a fish out of water kind of experience, like,
Yeah.
ooh, I feel I'm not supposed to be watching you right now because you're being weird and you're in public, but you're like, I can't help but watch you be weird. It was almost like a meltdown almost she was having. She's like,
It's so different. Like, with New York, it's so much different. Like, I ran into Michael Rappaport yesterday, and actually, I usually don't stop people if I see them. Well, here's the thing. I know him from the Stern Show. Like, I listened to Howard Stern Show for years. I go, oh my god, I said to talk about Stern stuff. But then there are other times I'm on the Upper West Side. Like a couple of years ago, I shot a commercial for Nathan's, and we're at the corner, and the guy, another comic I was with, it was a bunch of comics in that commercial, and we look over, and go, holy shit! He goes, Bacon, Kevin Bacon's right next to him. He's like, Kevin Bacon. He's like, Bacon. He goes, hey, man. He goes, and again, it just walks back. Oh, yeah, Kevin Bacon. What's up, man? How are you? I got in the elevator, and it's Susan Sarandon. I go, holy shit, Susan Sarandon. I'm like, hey. She goes, hi there. I go, how are you? Great. I go, hey, still look good. All right. See ya.
yeah, that's kind of our vibe with it. It's like, and it's crazy because it's not like I'm trying to be like, and now that I hear like you can relate to it, it's like I'm not trying to be Miss Cool, like, oh, blah blah blah. It's just like it is what it's cool. It's like, oh my gosh, like holy crap, like you're saying, but it's just kind of like, oh, and then you move on. But it's like I see people here in LA because there's so many wannabes that it becomes this whole like, oh, whoa, did you see? Oh, and it's like, dude, relax. Like,
I have friends who move there, and I have friends who move back. And as New York, North Jersey, New York guys, I probably would hate it there so hard because of the fake horse shit and all the like I would lose my shit and all the vapidness, like the crystal party you were just telling me about. They're like, no, that's dumb. No one believes in that shit. Stop it. And your passion fruit iced tea. No one wants that. Your pizza sucks. Stop it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, there's people, if that's what they want to believe, that's cool. But for me, where I find it interesting is like, it's so like agendaized kind of here in LA and like a fad that of course he assumed that Danielle, where it's like, no, it's not like that at all. And it's just so funny because people always assume Danielle, and especially me with like the big boobs and like,
I didn't notice, really.
but like they put me in a category, so they think I'm going to be that one to be like, oh yeah, or this and that. And same thing with Danielle. Like when that dude took her, that was his attempt to impress her because by these fake people's standards. And here's the thing: I know there's other people like, even though I'm not into crystals, I have also met people who genuinely are into them in a way where it's not about being all ooh and this, and it's like a personal thing, blah blah blah. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about these people who they're like, it's the thing, and I don't even know what I'm talking about, but this and oh, and it's like, bitch, you don't even know what energy you're opening, so leave it alone. And it's like this whole thing. And the thing that pisses me off about being a California girl is a lot of people have the opinion that California, especially LA, SoCal, is very fake and phony, and it is, but it's because people who aren't from here are saturating it and trying to be these wannabes, looking for that dream, thinking they're going to be the next whoever, and they're the ones lousing it up. Because I'm not saying that there's bad people everywhere, but a lot of my very negative and toxic connections I had with people here in Cali are people who did not grow up here, who people that came from somewhere and had a dream and they just are douching it to the max, taking girls to
Douching it to the
parties.
max. I haven't heard like that
Yes,
in a
dude.
long time.
It's like not everybody's that way, but so many are that Danielle and I always get put in that category. Always get, and that's why it's funny about your show how I like effed up and then the time tonight because it's such a ditzy thing, and that's like what people want me to be. That's why I laugh so hard, and I like on your show I embraced it because
Mhm.
that's what people want for me. And when they see that I'm not like, and it's kind of me, like whatever, whatever. But like when they
I would
see
say
that,
I would say like the pothead or narrative definitely plays a role into that.
sure, but it's like one of those things where um, you know, that's the category people want me in because they feel comfortable. They feel
Sure.
comfortable if I'm that girl. And with Danielle, especially because she's so petite, she looks young, they put her in a category. And then when they see us together, they're just kind of like, oh, that's that crazy wild one. And that's the young one. She doesn't know any better. And then people try to run their little games. And it's just like, whoa.
It's so
And then,
true. It's so true. It's again, I go to Vegas every year with my buddies, and I love talking with people to California. Well, half the time. Half the time when they come up, they start saying this dumb shit, like Californians. But then when you meet other people, like, we love East Coast dudes because you guys are just the ball busting. It's just like it's a nonstop zigzag, zigzag, and it's just boom. And it's like you guys like you guys are real. Like in California, this does not exist. That's why again, when we go out there, it's people hear us talking. They go, first of all, they hear this accent, which I don't think is that bad. You tell me. But and then they go, oh yeah, you guys from the East Side, and they just bullshit with us, and it's funny just to hear them. Like you never hear this in the back home because everyone's just frauds, or they're looking over the shoulder trying to see if something there's more important in the room that they should be talking to or not.
that's the thing. And it sucks. And like I've been in conversations with people where like they'll ask me a question and then I'm answering it, but then maybe somebody more important comes in and like I'm answering it and I'm like,
Gotta
oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah, like you never said
Okay.
anything. Well, I have a question for you. So,
Please.
a lot of shows that are really popular with LA actors and actresses, like Friends, Seinfeld, Sex in the City, it's all based in New York. So, do you kind of have that same phoniness or people trying to be New Yorkers, this like stereotype, and they're totally outsiders and they're totally trashing it? Like, do you kind of have that similar experience?
I laugh when I watch movies. You can tell who like the writer is not from New York in a heartbeat, or the area. At least I'll say the area. I'm from Jersey. I'm not, really I'm not from New York. I work there. But you can tell because every movie when they try and do like New York, you have that one guy with that over the top fucking Brooklyn accent. Hey, you get the fuck out of here. I'm walking. Shit like that. Like, no. And we just did actually not long ago Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And there's a scene in the very beginning where Steve Martin's trying to get a cab. They're on Park Avenue. And I go, nope, 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 because they're all lined up. Guess what? No one lines up. There's no line formed to get a cab in New York unless you're A, at the airport, or B, outside of Madison Square Garden. There are never lines. It's you standing in the street, putting your hand out, trying to flag it down. There's never a line. And in the movie, there's a line of people in park like, nope, 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 nope. So yeah, with films like that, yeah, I never watch Friends. I think if I insult you, I apologize. I think it's the dumbest show ever made, Friends. I think it's so viciously unfunny. I've seen bits and pieces. I never sat down and watched one episode from top to bottom, so I can't comment on that. Seinfeld, not really crazy about that. But those shows and movies, you get the idea. It's just like, all right, some people get it. But movies, especially like in the 80s and 90s, when they had the over the top, like, what's wrong with you assholes, huh? Like, what's so wrong with you? Ma, the meatloaf. Shit like that. No, it gets dopey. But I'm sure the same could be said to you about LA stuff, like La La Land. I mean, did they get that right? You tell me.
I didn't see it because I didn't care.
Don't rush. Don't rush.
I'm
It's
the type
okay.
of person, I don't know how you feel about this being the movie guy you are. I'm the kind of movie watcher that if everyone makes a really big deal out of it, I refuse to watch it, and I'm like, I get turned off immediately. And then if I end up liking it later, I always watch it later. And then when I watch it, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I watched it now, not when it was the big deal, because I absorb it differently now. So that's fine. So I'm just like, if the media or the studios are pumping up something too much, immediately I'm like, no. In La La Land, I was like, nope, don't care. I don't know.
I saw it and I was extremely unimpressed. And it was
Mhm.
so forced and not organic at all. And I've seen a lot of really commercialized, happy go lucky, like very predictable movies. And I can get that if I know that's what I'm going into and it's campy. It's just kind of like a light getaway. But there's some that are
Right.
shameless and they're trying to come across as the new classic, the new Oscar. Freaking look at Titanic. That kind of vibe. It's like when you look back at it, it really, really sucks, but they try to present it like this iconic blah blah blah.
I mean,
And
it's grand in vision, and the boat scene sinking is still fucking glorious. We did actually on the podcast too. It's the last third is like, okay, but the 2/3 leading up, you're like, all right, let's see the boat sink already. We get it. She wants to fuck him in a car. He's gonna draw pencil sketches of her naked. Okay, let's see the band falling and playing music, and then the old people holding hands. Let's go.
yeah, and it's like if a movie, just like a person, if you're gonna be a jerk and own it. If you're gonna be
Yes, and
just a just a fun, good time movie that is pretty much full of fluff, you be that and you own it. But if you're gonna try
right,
to tell me that you're this real inspirational, touchy-feely, wow movie and you just suck and you're all fluff, F you.
It's not
right
that
on.
deep. That's what it is. It's not that deep, and they're trying to make it deep, like that guy that took you to the crystal party. It's like they're trying to be deep, and like the thing is I I don't like that. If something's gonna be deep, it's because organically it just made my brain go somewhere, and so that's what's deep to me. Not like you're saying, like, it's like, ew. That tells me, like, here's the thing. No offense, no offense,
Well, that'll be determined.
but Danielle and I grew up going to a very to a church where like there was the Jesus Tron, we call it. It's like a concert going to church. And I don't like that. To me, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for all these distractions and all this. I'm here to connect. And with a movie, it's a story and I want to connect with it, even if it's stupid and silly. Like make me laugh hard because I'm invested in these dumbass people because you guys told a good story. That's how I
Right,
look at it.
right.
So when it's being like this, like try like with people trying too hard, and it's like not trying too hard because you're trying to fit in. It's because you're such a douchebag that your ego thinks that you're so great, so you think you're making this masterpiece when really I'm smelling this is your ego, and like get out of here with it. That's how I feel about these films. It's like make me feel, even if it's a like again, my favorite movie is One Crazy Summer. It's the stupidest movie, but stupid. But I love that movie because I connect with those characters in different ways. So when they go through these things, it's stupid and dumb. It is. I get it, and it
I hear
seems,
you.
you know.
I hear you. What's your favorite film, Amanda? It's fine. Just I know how to judge you accordingly now.
What's that?
Sorry. I said Amanda. My fault. Danielle. I apologize. When I said Amanda.
Who's Amanda?
Danielle. And I was like, great.
I am Amanda.
Amanda.
You have a
I like how
question
she took the
for
shirt off to kind of
Amanda?
like. By the way, I have big boobs too. See.
You guys were on the subject because
Oh,
I don't know if you saw me on my phone. What do you guys think? Because this freaking bugs the F out of me. Licorice pizza.
I
I
don't
won't
want to
see
see it.
it.
I don't care.
I have no desire.
Oh,
Why?
douche.
Why does the
Douche.
trailer not tell you anything about the plot? Nothing. It's like all just what is this movie about and why?
Whimsical horse shit. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I just look at it, I go, I know I'm gonna hate. Like for example, we just taped the other night, Jojo Rabbit, and I fucking hated that film with a passion. And I see the preview for Licorice Pizza. I go, this was made for critics. Like there is just all these films are just made for not for people, for critics. That is on the mantle for regular people, and I'll call them pseudo intellectuals, where they're going to say, I loved it because, and I haven't seen it. So I may be talking out my ass if I see it down the road and go, you know what? I'm fucking wrong. It is really good. But it just seems from the previews, you go, yeah, this is something that meant for the art, for the independent art houses films, which are fine. I like some of them, like a good amount of them. But this is just made for the critics, and people are going to say that to seem worldly. Again, reserve right for full judgment when I see it, if I see it. But that is exactly, and I think your gut is right on.
Yeah, and honestly, again, just calling a spade, this movie is having a high budget and trying to seem like a low budget, like artsy indie film. And I used to go to like Lemwell and watch like Darjeeling Limited before like it became like popular, and like these artsy.
Wes Anderson is not my forte. I will say that.
But honestly, like, you are not an art film.
Right.
I'm watching you on TBS and your commercials are coming on. That is not Lemlel. That's not independent film. You have a budget and you're trying to seem all whatever. Look at, you have what that freaking actor's name is with his little putty on his nose.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm dying to hear the explanation.
It's this actor. What is his name? He always kind of gets under my skin, but he's
Jonah Hill.
Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, but
what's about his nose? Putty on his nose.
It looks like his face looks different. Like, it doesn't look like how he naturally looks, unless he always looked like the guy has putty on his nose, and I never noticed it before.
Are you talking about Luke Wilson?
No, not Luke Wilson. I don't know.
Owen Wilson has a broken nose.
Yeah,
I mean, Owen Wilson.
So we had to look it up more because I don't care that much. But I'm just like, you're trying so hard to be all artsy fartsy, and you just aren't, and you have the budget to show that you just aren't, and your commercials cannot even give me a plot. That's a red flag.
It's about two kids growing up in the 70s, and that's all you're going to know.
And here's the thing, but that's just how it is. Like, whether it's in the comedy world, or whether it's in the acting world, or it's in the wrestling or any entertainment world, it's like you see, like, when you know how it is, especially like I've always bonded with comedians, specifically because you live, and musicians, because you live on the road. Like, you know, you travel, you hustle, like, you know, especially comedians, because it's like, you gotta hustle. And I get that, like with wrestling. So it's like, I kind of find offense when it's like they're trying to make it seem like this thing. It's like, dude, you don't know what's up with that. Like, you don't know how it feels to, like, there's no budget. Like, you're hoping you'll get paid, but you're doing it. The reason why it's magic, whatever you're like being a part of, is because you don't care. You're doing it for what it is, like whatever it is, your art. So I feel like it just goes back to those fake and phony ass bitches. They're just like, we're gonna put it together, and I'm just, the licorice pizza commercials make me mad. I literally get angry. I'm just like, I can't wait till they're not promoting it anymore, so I don't have to be like, here we go again with this.
Bad news. When Oscar time comes around, you're gonna see it even more, because all the fuck, it's gonna get nominated for Oscars.
What an artistic piece of work. Oh, the best film of 2022.
And here's the thing. If it is good, like you said, you're open to like your own words. If it's good, they're not doing a good job of reeling everyone in. And I love what you had to say, like the point of they're making this stuff for the critics. That's it. And that's why it's annoying. Just like some of these people who it's frustrating to see, like, when they screw people over or whatever, but it's like they get pushed because they're there for the critics of whatever they do, you know? It's just
right.
Gross. So sorry to
and
interrupt you. I just had to bring up licorice pizza, how much it pissed me the F off. And obviously it pisses other people off.
You can't give me a shot of vodka and then talk about licorice pizza.
And another thing, Bradley Cooper can shit in his hat.
Yes, I agree.
I don't mind. He's all right. Some things I like him, and some things I'm not crazy about.
He's always psycho though.
Sometimes he's good though. Like, in some things he is really good, and sometimes he's just a little whatever. Well, anyways, wow, we went over an hour here. So can you tell?
Felt like 15 minutes, girls. It's been a hoot.
Can you tell everyone out there where they can see all your stuff? They can follow you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I sure can. Guttingthesacredcow.com is where all the magic happens. You can find our blogs. Every day we have new articles out there. Our favorite thing to talk about is called That Doesn't Happen, where we watch things in films that screenwriters try and pass off as regular occurrences. Like, for example, my co-host nailed this one in the first time. How many times you ever get in a car and you pull the sun visor down and that's where the spare set of keys is? Never. That doesn't happen. Shit like that. As other things, or you find the key to like a spare key to the house underneath the potted plant outside. No. Or they shoot people in the chest instead of in the head in horror films and they have to come back. And guess what? They get killed. That doesn't happen. We could go on and on and on. We do movie news. We do our movie quotes that we really dig. And of course, that's where you find all of the links to the podcasts that we're on. I mean, we're on obviously iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. So you want to see our smug, smiling faces as we do our show, you better believe it. And you see Shelly, Jesus Christ, Shelly's smiling face as well on the Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, it's hilarious. And GTSC podcast on Twitter. But more importantly, do us this favor. I guarantee you, just go out and download Shelly's episode. If that doesn't hook you, then you have a learning disability. And then we'll talk about that from there. But when you do like her episode, I want you to go and I want you to subscribe. But most importantly, go and rate our podcast. 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review. Just give us a quick review. That helps. Oh, and on guttingthesacredcow.com also, we have a merch shop. Hats, bags, mugs, t-shirts, all that shit. So guttingthesacredcow.com. I'm Kevin Gootee. That's KevinGootee.com. I do my NFL picks there, dates, stand-up stuff, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, of course, and GTSC podcast, Twitter, Gutting the Sacred Cow on all the other socials as well.
All right. And I look forward to watching the Ferris Bueller episode, the Goonies episode, the Princess.
That's a huge one. That's another one where that's where the fans like go, holy shit. Like we got a lot of solid feedback. Like, first of all, it was fuck you guys for this guy going after the Goonies. But then when you watch it, you're like, oh shit, the guy, Dave, the producer's his name. He's awesome. David's right. It isn't that good. And we tell you why, and we agree with why. But yeah, that's another one of those
I've been
watershed moments.
Sitting on that one because I'm scared. Because here's the thing, I am a Goonie, and I'm such a nerd. Like I know all the like mess ups in the movie and all that. So it goes deep. And so I've been kind of scared to watch it. Ferris Bueller, it's more one of those things where I always disliked Ferris. I always hated Ferris. I thought he was a bad friend. I still stand by
that. I get the bad friend part.
Terrible friend. I was always Team Cameron, but anyways, very entitled
white boy. Sorry, but not sorry.
Entitled. Why is it got to be white now? Why can't she be a boy?
Because that's what it is.
She had to make it racial, goddamn it.
But anyway, so I really am looking forward while I do cardio to watch those ones specifically and go down the rabbit hole, which is your YouTube channel.
Yes, and we will have you back, I promise. I'm just going to make sure the film you choose does not have a sequel so you don't fuck it up again.
Well, here's the hard thing. Like, it was hard enough for me to even think about, because all the ones I have a beef with, you guys have already done. So it's like, It's really hard. How many episodes did you say you have now?
116, somewhere around there.
Like, that's like hard. Like, that's a lot of movies.
Shelly, how many movies have been made? Tens of thousands. I get all of them not qualify, but listen.
But there's not that many that like make me feel like, let's say, the hate I had for Dumb and Dumber. And like, you know what I mean? Like, there's these films out there, and then all the ones that I can think of, you guys already have done.
I want you now that you have time and there's no pressure because we don't have you booked yet. Again, we will have you back. Sit back whenever you're just, medicating and go, you know what? What films do I truly fucking hate? And just make a list. Make a list, send it to me, and we can, even if there's ones that we've done, I can at least know your kind of tastes and go, all right, she may have hated this. She may have hated this and we've done it. She may have not. She may have hated this one. It's kind of similar. So we'll figure it out. Believe me.
Well, you know what? By the way, you don't think ever since I did your show, I've been thinking about what movie, and that's why I'm saying it's really effing hard. Like,
I'm glad. See, you had a good time. I'm glad you're coming back.
I have to redeem myself, and I was like, I don't care if I have to boss my way on their show. Like, I have to come back and like have like the legit. Like, I know what's going on now. It's like the right thing. So every single thing, and then sometimes I get real proud of myself, and I'm like, yeah, that's the one. And I'll look at that list. I'm like, they did it.
Make that list because we have some in the queue. People like we haven't taped them yet, but we have some that are already reserved. But it's like as soon as you think of some, you're like, God damn it, reach out to me, and we'll get you lined up with that, so that way no one can steal it from you in the in the future. So
Here's the thing too, is like I like how you said to send you a list because then you'll know like my distaste. So
Mhm.
maybe be like, hey, have you seen this movie? Because we haven't done that one. So there you go.
I tell you, there are a few films that I consider bulletproof, and some of them have been done too much to my shock, like Die Hard, like Matrix, Jaws. I'll chat, and I'd be floored if you did, but I'd be if anyone can come on and try to take down Goodfellas, Back to
I
the
can't.
Future.
I
No,
love
it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, Back to the Future, no
Ugh,
fucking chance. Naked Gun, no fucking chance.
I had to
So,
revisit that one.
Naked Gun's flawless. So
I
you'll
liked
be
it.
yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So I'm just giving you like ones that were like, if you hate these masterpieces, well, come the fuck on down. So that's
The
yeah. So
best.
think of it, and we'll do that, and we'll do it again. You guys were awesome. I had a blast. Talk an hour and 25. Holy shit!
Wow.
Okay, that's what happens when you hang out
Is
with
this the
Martinez.
longest show you've ever had?
This is the longest, not show, but guest. You're our longest
Yeah.
audience, so there you go.
Either I'm interesting, or you're bored, or you're just stuck. You have nothing else to do.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Shit. Here I am. Thought I was gonna get away scot-free on a compliment. Guess not.
Not in this town.
God damn it. God damn
Thank
it.
you so much for joining us, and I look forward to hanging out with you again soon.
Look forward to hanging out with both of you guys too sooner or later. Thank you so much again, Martinez Girlz. Mwah.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, Danielle. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. It was so much fun. I just love collabing with people where the energy is just like right before we went into it, I was talking about the energy of the wine tasting plate, blah, 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 blah. This energy is exactly what it is, a clear example of what we're about. Fun, jokes, not taking things too serious, but taking some things because you kind of have to, and just being real. And that's what Kevin Gootee represents to me. So make sure to go follow. I'll put below all of the links. You can follow the podcast, follow him and his other co-host, Kevin, and you guys can check them out. So stay tuned. What about you, Danielle? What do you feel?
I really enjoy collaborating with other creators, especially people who understand what you're doing. And you guys are like, oh, I know that world. Like, and it's so easy to mesh with them and have conversations. It's really cool when we have guests that maybe are in different industries, or maybe they're in entertainment, but they're not necessarily into podcasting. But there is definitely something to be said about podcasters and a different, again, level of energy that gets brought to the table. And it's really cool to vibe with somebody who understands that, and you just play off each other. And it just was very organic.
Because you know why? I think if somebody like a fellow podcast or a broadcaster or vlogger or whatever the case may be, it's like they're constantly doing like how we're doing. So it's like an unsaid vibe,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like legit respect, you know? OG.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have a new episode next month. Right now, we're just doing one new episode a month. But stay tuned, because later this month, February, my birthday month, thank you very much. Yes, Danielle and I are literally exactly 2 weeks apart.
Exactly 2 weeks apart.
In birthdays. So there you have it. It's
But like a few years, but 2 weeks.
Yeah, many years in between, but 2 weeks from the date to date. And so I'm going to be having, not because it's my birthday, but last month there was a lot going on. My editing got behind. So we're going to have another bonus Martinez Girlz radio. It's from October that I never post. So that'll be the next one sometime this month. But we'll also have a new Wake and Bake. I'm going to be recording in a couple weeks a new Talking Shit with Amanda Rodriguez. So stay tuned, everyone. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment below. And until next time, I'm Shelly from Cali. She's Danny, California. And we'll be smelling you later. Adios.
Toodles.
Oh.